The British tried to colonize Roanoke Island twice, but failed both times. The first time because of shortage of supplies, and the second, well, because they disappeared. Sir Walter Raleigh was in charge of the colonizing, even though he never went on either expedition. During the first attempt, colonists failed miserably to upkeep friendly relationships with the natives there. The arguments reached their apex when a silver cup was stolen by a native and the colonists were unable to retrieve it. Infuriated English colonists burned down a whole village of the natives. By chance, Sir Francis Drake arrived at the colony and hauled the colonists back to England, much to their relief. The second attempt was led by John White, who had been one of the first people to explore the island. John White took along 117 men and women, among which was his daughter and her husband. The difference with the second attempt was that Raleigh sent White to settle a colony on Chesapeake Bay, but fate intervened and caused them to land on Roanoke Island again. The English settlers realized that they were ill-equipped to set up a colony in Chesapeake Bay, and were forced to revive the abandoned village that was left by the previous colonists in Roanoke. John White oversaw the construction of the colony and then informed the colonists that he will go back to England and return with as many supplies as possible. To preclude the possibility that the colony would need to move and White would have to find them, he instructed the people to carve the destination of the new colony on a tree. He also told them to carve a cross next to the destination's name if they were forced to move or had to move under distress. This way, John White could never lose them, right? After leaving the colonists and reaching England in the year 1588, White was surprised to find England preparing for war with Spain. The war delayed his return till August 18, 1590. That was almost exactly 3 years since he left the colony in August 1570. When John White returned, the colony was abandoned. According to his observations written in his journal, he found the houses taken down and the place very strongly enclosed with a high palisade of great trees, with a very fort-like wall, and one of the chief trees, or posts, at the right side of the entrance had the bark taken off, and 5 feet from the ground, in fair capital letters, was graven Croatoan, without any cross or sign of distress. This done, he entered into the palisade. He saw many heavy things thrown here and there, almost overgrown with grass and weeds. What John White saw and wrote in his journal are the only first-hand clues we have to this mystery. What happened to the colonists? Why are there so many things thrown around in the camp? Where did all the colonists' boats go? These are a few of the many questions still remaining regarding their disappearance. Of course, many theories have been made to explain this strange occurrence. To begin with, allow me to discard the less credible ones, like the UFO theory. I don't really think I really need to say anything else about that. The next theory is slightly more credible, though still somewhat odd. This theory states that a cannibalistic tribe nearby killed and ate all the colonists, then took the bones and robbed the colony. Now, that would explain why the colony was looking ransacked, but leaves a large amount of questions unanswered. If they were killed, why didn't they put a cross above the word Croatoan? Actually, why did they write Croatoan if they didn't even get a chance to leave? Because of these reasons, this theory cannot be considered plausible. This third theory is far more conceivable than the previous. This theory states that the colonists died during the worst drought of that age. There is scientific evidence that shows that there was indeed a very severe drought at that time. Unfortunately, even with scientific facts to support it, the theory still leaves many questions unanswered. First of all, there was no cross above Croatoan. If they had to move because of a food shortage and starvation, that means they had to move in distress, so they should have put a cross. Secondly, when John White came back, he would have seen hundreds of bodies lying around of all the dead colonists. Because of those reasons, this theory cannot be considered realistic. Last but not least, the fourth theory. This one is probably the most reasonable and realistic of them all. According to this theory, the colonists waited for as long as possible after John White left, but began to run extremely low on supplies. Their translator, Manteo, was part of the Lumbee, or the Croatoan tribe, and thus the colonists were friendly with them. They moved in and eventually married into the tribe so that they could share supplies and survive. After the colonists left, tribes surrounding the abandoned colony ransacked and robbed the place. There are several facts that support this theory. A government study in 1800 of the names of Lumbee tribe members matched the list of people that colonized Roanoke. John White did consider this theory when he returned, but a severe storm prevented him from going towards where the Lumbee lived. To this day, no one knows what exactly happened to the colonists. No one knows whether or not any descendants of these colonists are alive. There are still many unanswered questions about this unsolved mystery, all waiting to be uncovered.
I dreamed I was missing